All you in this room are entertainers, and you have a job to do, and I respect it, right? And I'm a competitor, so I have a job to do as well. Definitely want to just throw it away. Don't force anything, on a keeper, and felt like, there's just miscommunication on my part and something that we got to clean up, but I will, and we'll make sure of that. Yeah, just miscommunication as well. I got to be better there to help each other out on one that, knowing exactly where the launch point is, and that's something that'll be corrected and fixed as soon as possible.
And to get the compare and contrast, the juxtaposition from how he handled his post-game press conference after his first preseason action versus Shedeur.
Dillon Gabriel is now backtracking from his shots at Shedeur Sanders, trying to wave it off as a so-called miscommunication. But let's be honest here. Was it really miscommunication? He was loud, he was clear, and his words carried no confusion at all. He was taking direct shots, and now that the backlash is here, he's scrambling to soften the blow. There's a huge difference between being a true competitor and just putting on an act as an entertainer, and that's exactly where this conversation takes a turn. So now the big question is, what did Gabriel actually mean, and why is he switching up his story? Was it the heat of the moment? Was it intentional? Or is this just an easy excuse to cover up what he really feels? Now let's get into what Gabriel was really trying to say, and whether this so-called miscommunication is anything more than damage control.
I'm focused on doing. It's just part of it. There's entertainers and there's competitors, and I totally understand that, and my job is to compete, and that's what I'm focused on doing.
Dillon Gabriel knew deep down that Shedeur Sanders was the superior player, but instead of owning up to it, he went low and took a cheap shot in his interview. He threw out that line about there being entertainers and competitors. Really? To even suggest that Shedeur wasn't a competitor was flat out absurd. This was a fifth-round pick already turning heads with his accuracy and big-time throws in the NFL. That was the definition of a competitor. The Shedeur hate is real, but the bigger issue is that it has no foundation. There wasn't a single piece of solid play from Gabriel to back it up. His on-field performance didn't even scratch the surface of what Shedeur had already accomplished, yet he still tried to downplay him. That move only exposed Gabriel more, making it obvious that his words came from frustration rather than fact. The truth was clear all along. Shedeur Sanders was the one competing at the highest level, proving himself week after week. Gabriel, on the other hand, was left trying to explain away comments that never should have been made in the first place. But now that the backlash has hit and everyone is questioning him, Gabriel is suddenly trying to flip the script. He's out here claiming that he never meant it the way people took it, insisting that the entertainer comment was aimed at media personalities, not Shedeur. According to him, he had no idea how his words would be interpreted. But let's be real, does anyone actually buy that?
All you in this room are entertainers, and you have a job to do, and I respect it, right? And I'm a competitor, so I have a job to do as well.
He might think he can fool the audience with this backpedaling, but deep down, we all know exactly what he meant when he said it. His attempt to twist the narrative only makes his original intent even clearer. Chris Canty didn't hold back when he jumped into the discussion. He connected Dillon Gabriel's entertainer remark to that infamous statement Oregon's coach made when Gabriel in Oregon went up against Colorado, the one where the coach said Colorado was playing for clicks. Back then, Shedeur Sanders was right in the middle of it, carrying that Colorado team, and now here we are again with Gabriel making a similar kind of shot. Canty pointed out that this isn't just coincidence, it's a pattern, and his stance was crystal clear. Gabriel can try to spin it however he wants, but everybody knows what he was really saying. This cover-up story doesn't hold water, because the context speaks louder than his excuses.
How could it not go to that place? I mean, remember, we had his former head coach, Dan Lanning at Oregon, give the pregame speech where he was just talking about how Colorado was doing it for clicks, and they were trying to do it for wins. Remember, Shedeur Sanders being the quarterback for the Colorado Buffaloes, his dad being Coach Prime. it gave shades of that when I initially heard it.
Shannon Sharpe didn't hold back either. He dismissed the notion that Dillon Gabriel's comments were being misunderstood, pointing out that far too many people were bending over backwards to twist his words into something harmless. In Sharpe's view, the remark was deliberate, direct, and there was no mistaking the intent behind it. No amount of backtracking could erase that. To reinforce his stance, he reminded everyone of a nearly identical situation from last season when Oregon's head coach took a public jab at Colorado, using almost the exact same tone and language. And once again, the underlying target was Shedeur Sanders. And who was Oregon's quarterback in that moment? None other than Dillon Gabriel, standing right in the thick of it. For Sharpe, this wasn't some random slip-up. It was part of a larger pattern. He pointed out that Dillon Gabriel always seems to find himself tied to storylines that take shots at or diminish Shedeur Sanders, whether it's intentional or just conveniently indirect. And now, by calling Shedeur an entertainer instead of recognizing him as the fierce competitor he is, Gabriel has once again thrown himself right into the heart of controversy. Chris Canty doubled down on the issue, pointing out that Gabriel was clearly taking veiled shots at Shedeur while pretending he wasn't. And even if, for the sake of argument, Gabriel was directing his words at the media, Canty questioned what that was supposed to mean in the first place. It didn't add up. At the end of the day, the media's job is to cover the game, while the player's job is to perform on the field, and the entire sports industry is built on that balance of competition and entertainment. By trying to spin it this way, Gabriel wasn't helping himself at all. In fact, Canty argued, it only made him look weaker, because the excuse simply didn't make sense. Chris Canty pushed the conversation even further, stressing that Gabriel had only hurt his own case with the way he handled things. He explained that the quarterback position is above all a leadership role, one where you're expected to deliver both on the field and at the podium. Showing poise, accountability, and character is part of the job. But in this instance, Gabriel fell short. Instead of owning up to his mistakes, the turnovers, the fumbles, and the struggles that were there for everyone to see, he deflected by throwing shots. Canty made it clear that this was the wrong approach. A true leader accepts responsibility. Gabriel did the opposite, and that choice only damaged his credibility further.
Yep.
Because when you're the quarterback of the team, it's a leadership position by nature. And not only do you have to be good on the field, but you got to be good at the podium. It's a part of the job requirement. And I thought that was the wrong tone to set in terms of his post-game interview. With all of the mistakes that we saw, with the turnovers in the first half, there was clearly an opportunity for him to acknowledge his need for improvement.
In the end, the entire situation surrounding Dillon Gabriel's comments only exposed more about him than it did about Shedeur Sanders. By trying to draw a line between competitors and entertainers, Gabriel underestimated just how much weight his words would carry and how easily they could be traced back to a narrative that has followed Shedeur since his days at Colorado. Analysts like Chris Canty and Shannon Sharpe made it clear. This wasn't just a misunderstanding or miscommunication, it was a deliberate remark that Gabriel is now scrambling to walk back. The bigger issue here is that quarterbacks are supposed to set the tone, both on the field and off it. Gabriel's decision to deflect blame and take thinly veiled shots instead of owning his mistakes only weakens his case as a leader. Meanwhile, Shedeur continues to let his game speak for itself, proving he's more than capable of competing at the highest level. The contrast couldn't be clearer. One player is caught in controversy of his own making, while the other is turning heads with his play. At the end of the day, leadership is about accountability, and Gabriel missed that chance completely. What do you all think about this situation? Was Dillon Gabriel genuinely misunderstood, or is he just trying to backtrack after realizing the backlash? Do you believe his entertainer comment was really meant for the media, or was Shedeur Sanders the clear target all along? And more importantly, should a quarterback who's supposed to lead by example be taking shots like this instead of owning up to his own mistakes on the field? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear what side you're on in this debate.